So a lot of people ask me, Sarah, do you honestly think that print on demand is still worth it? And I'm always like, well, let me tell you, I've got a lot of opinions on this subject, and I've got to warn you because some of my opinions are a bit controversial. But, well, if you don't mind a bit of controversy, then buckle up because we're just going to jump straight into it. So probably the main reason why I see people say that it's no longer worth it anymore is that they say that print on demand is too saturated. And my opinion on this subject is, shall we say, complicated. On one hand, I think that absolutely yes, there are definitely some products and some niches that are way too saturated these days to realistically break into. But on the other hand, I actually think that it's way easier now than it used to be to find wide open niches and wide open products that have a lot of different untapped opportunities thanks to AI. So let me explain. First of all, yes, absolutely. If you want to try and sell generic products that are really big and really popular, it's going to be much more saturated than it used to. So for example here, right, good luck trying to sell a generic custom dog mug on Etsy as a brand new store because you're gonna need it. There are way too many of these listed for sale now. Times have changed. It used to be that because there were less sellers, you could just copy popular products like this and make a lot of money because of the huge increase in traffic when the lockdowns occurred. Like again, take Etsy. Look at how much their traffic spiked in 2020 with the lockdowns compared to 2019. It's insane. It was a different time back then. Almost overnight, you had this huge influx of customers into Etsy, all trying to buy from a small number of Etsy stores. And it wasn't just Etsy either, by the way. Pretty much all the websites out there that you could be selling products on, such as Amazon, all experienced this big lockdown sales boom. So yeah, you could just come in and copy a bunch of products and make a bunch of money. But unsurprisingly, because of this gap, a lot of new sellers joined. And so that window in 2020 where there was a bunch of super easy opportunities to make money has definitely closed. On the flip side though, I actually think that it's easier now compared to say 3 years ago, thanks to AI. So you take this video here, right? I used AI in this to help me identify an unsaturated design to sell on Etsy. Basically what I did was I browsed through Etsy and I noticed that double entendre t-shirts like this were popular. So I used ChatGPT to help me come up with a double entendre design for other niches such as gardening. And I then turned it into a t-shirt design using Canva. Now, I didn't post it because it was just meant to be an example for the video, but I'll tell you what, somewhat suspiciously, within a month of me posting that video, very similar designs started popping up on Etsy. And look, this t-shirt has had 3 sales today. Now, I have no idea if these people actually watched my video or not. A couple might have, but that's not the point. The point is, this is a slogan that clearly customers like. And it is a slogan that I first identified using AI. And the truth is, in the past, coming up with a great design like this would have been really hard and it would have taken a lot of time because you think about it, right? To come up with a clever slogan like this, you have to be funny and you have to be smart. But now if I spot an opportunity like I did here in this niche, it is so much faster to just come up with a design, post it and test it and to start seeing if it can make me money. Especially now that I can generate any image that I want with AI art. In the past, if I wanted to create a design, I was pretty much limited to whatever clip art I could find within Canva, but now I can make any clip art that I want. So yes, if you just want to use the old strategy of copying super popular products, then yes, it is way too saturated now. Rip, that's it, it's dead, it's done. But on the other hand, I think that there is a new golden opportunity for people that are happy to niche down and to create products and designs in it because AI has made it so much easier to do that. And by the way, if you'd like to learn more about my tips and tricks that I use to come up with new design ideas, then after watching this video, you can download a copy of my free ebook, The 6 Steps That 6-Figure Online Stores Follow to Make Over $10,000 a Month with Print on Demand. You can find a link to download my free ebook in the video description below. But anyway, back to the video. So then, the next reason why I see people say that print on demand is no longer worth it is because digital products have higher profit margins. So then, these people ask, why don't I just sell digital products instead of selling print on demand products? And it's a fair question, right? And again, my opinion on the subject is complicated. So first of all, absolutely, this is true Mathematically speaking, that is. Like, you take t-shirts, right? My personal favorite print provider on Printify, Monster Digital, is currently charging about $9.13 for the t-shirt that I sell, which is the Bala Canvas 3001 with a premium account. And on average, t-shirts tend to sell for around $15 on the low end to around $18 to $20 in the midpoint to around $20, $23 on the higher end. Such as our gardening t-shirt from earlier, which is selling for $22.40. Well, as I said, I sell through both Etsy and Shopify, and obviously Etsy has much higher fees of the two, yet even on Etsy, this works out to be a 27 to 49% margin, and Shopify's margins are even higher. And also, just to clarify, people often ask, what about the shipping costs? Well, most people, myself included, charge it separately. So since this is a separate charge covered by the customer, I usually don't bother to include it in my profit calculations. But yes, even taking into account any extra fees or costs that you might have, chances are you're probably going to be still left with at least a 15 to 30% margin, which is actually quite high. On average, when you look at the stats, the average net profit that a physical product business has is usually under 20%, with most being under 10%. So when you think about it, print-on-demand products have remarkably high profit margins, because what a lot of people often forget is that $9.13 that Printify is charging for that t-shirt, well, that doesn't just include the cost of the t-shirt, that's also accounting for other expenses too, like the cost of salary and the cost of the warehouse. But then you compare it all to digital products and suddenly the margins that you're making look really tiny. Since the truth is, the profit margins that digital products make are kind of insane. Because you think about it, right? If a customer buys this t-shirt pack here, there's no physical product to ship them, no t-shirt to buy, no staff to have to pay to print the designs, no one to need to package it up. Nothing. It means that the margins on these can be anywhere from 70 to 90%. However, because there is no physical product being shipped out to the customers, the consequence is that they perceive the value to be lower, which is why this listing is charging $1.49 for a pack of 55 different t-shirt designs. Whereas that gardening t-shirt from before, printing and selling just one design, yeah, it's selling for $22.40 because it's printed onto a physical product. So yeah, as I said, when it comes to this issue, it's complicated. Compared to selling digital products, physical products absolutely have lower margins. But yet, despite that, they still make more profit and more money per sale because they are priced way higher. So, pros and cons. And of course, when it comes to this issue here, always keep in mind that you can choose to sell both. You don't just have to sell either or. You can choose to sell both if you want to. But speaking of cost, this brings me on to the next reason why a lot of people say that print on demand is no longer worth it anymore. And it's because of the fact that they say that it's now too expensive to do marketing because paid ads are required to get sales. And my personal opinion on this is that I don't think it's true. However, I do totally understand and respect if somebody wants to make that their main marketing strategy. After all, paid ads have a great advantage in marketing in that it is fast, instant traffic. So yes, that is going to appeal to a lot of people. But if you're willing to spend time either learning how to create content, including creating faceless content, or being willing to learn how algorithms work, then you can make a lot of money just by using low-cost, free traffic strategies. And here are just a few examples. So one way is to make and post Instagram Reel videos. So you take this Instagram account here. They have a store that sells cute and funny car stickers, and the way that they market these is through videos. They have made Instagram Reels like this one here, which has had over 2.9 million views, where they film themselves putting their stickers onto cars. Now, while this type of marketing isn't completely free, as you do have to buy the products for the video, it is still very low cost. And here is an example of a different traffic method. This time, it's free. So you take this TikTok account here, they have a print-on-demand store selling clothing like t-shirts, hoodies, and crop tops that feature designs in the dark humor niche. And, well, what they've done is they've posted these image carousels where there is a slide featuring the joke setup and then another slide featuring the product as the punchline. And these have also gone viral, gaining millions of views. And this is completely free to do. You don't have to pay anything to make these. And you take this Facebook account here. They have a print-on-demand store that sells gifts for accountants like t-shirts, mugs, that sort of thing. And well, what they've done is they create and post funny memes aimed at accountants. And because these are really funny for people that are in the accounting world, they have also gone viral, gaining millions of views and gaining them hundreds of thousands of followers who they can then market their products to. And check this out. If I come to Google and do a search for funny gardening t-shirts, I will find on the first page of results multiple different independent print-on-demand stores being recommended to me, such as this one here. This store now gets free traffic because they have optimized their store for search engines. This process is called SEO, and it's the main way that I also get traffic with both my Shopify and Etsy stores. And I'll be honest, learning SEO is a bit nerdy, but if you're also a bit nerdy too, then you might want to check out my print-on-demand course, the Ecomm Clubhouse, where I share my tips and tricks that I use to make money with print-on-demand, including the SEO tactics that I use. So if you're interested in getting access to my in-depth tutorial videos, I'll include a link to the Ecomm Clubhouse in the video description below. But anyway, back to the video. So hopefully you can see my point here. While yes, you can absolutely use paid ads if you choose to, there are lots of other low-cost or completely free traffic methods out there that you can use as long as you're willing to spend the time required to learn how to do them. So then on to the next reason why a lot of people say that print on demand isn't worth it, and this time it isn't for a financial reason. Instead, it's for a practical reason. It's because they say that print on demand is not actually passive. Because they say it actually takes a lot of time every day to run your store. And to this I say that yes, it can take a lot of time to run a print-on-demand store. A surprising amount of time, in fact. But I also know from experience that it doesn't have to, especially if you're careful and you do research, because in this industry, looks can be deceiving. Basically, here's the thing, right? For most stores, since your print-on-demand service takes care of production and shipping for you, usually the main thing that you have to do day to day is answer any emails or messages that you get from customers. And in my experience, you're going to get the most messages from customers who are having problems. And the most common problem that I've had in the past is that a customer received their order and they didn't like the item because the quality of it was bad. And trust me when I say that product quality can vary a lot in this industry. So for example, right, I made this video here where I reviewed different print providers and I got a bunch of different product samples to compare from them. And in that video, I reviewed 3 different print providers from Printify's network. I reviewed Monster Digital, SwiftPod, and Fulfill Engine. I ordered t-shirt samples from each, featuring this design I had commissioned, featuring a Swedish fellhund dog eating ramen, which was inspired by my own dog, Starbuck. And well, the Monster Digital t-shirt print came out looking great. It was sharp, bold, and the print felt nice and not sticky. The SwiftPod t-shirt, on the other hand, was not so great. The print was overly bright. Instead of the ramen bowl being crimson, it came out bright red. And the Fulfill Engine t-shirt was not great too. It had the opposite problem. You can see that the print was washed out. Now, of course, I do have to note this was a review from last year. This was just the experience I had at the time. Things could have changed now. But I will say at the time, the results were very interesting. Because when you put all 3 side by side, you could see the difference. And you can imagine then that depending on which t-shirt your customer had received, your experience could have varied drastically. Either your customer might have loved it and then just left you a great review, or your customer might have been very disappointed and messaged you with their arguably valid complaints. And then you'd be one of these people lamenting, going, why is it that Sarah says that she can spend 15 minutes a day or less answering messages from her customers, when for me, I can't do that at all. It takes me ages to answer the messages that I'm receiving from unhappy customers. And you'd be forgiven for this too, because right now, as I said, Monster Digital's prices start at $9.13 with a premium account. Whereas for Fulfill Engine, they're charging $11.30. So yeah. When it comes to picking a print provider, do not assume that price equals quality. Make sure that you do your research first. So then, as I said, some of my opinions are a bit controversial, so let me know in the comments which ones you agreed with or disagreed with. And if you'd like to learn about other ways that I and others are earning money online every day, be sure to watch my next video here on screen, and I will see you in the next video.